Glancing at her watch, her lips twisted in a grimace. The realtor's email stated she'd meet her at 5, and it was already 1/4 with no sign of anybody around. Which might be a bit of a problem. That last drive-through extra-large salted caramel frappuccino had definitely tipped the scale over into 1 frap too many. Walking across the front porch, she grabbed the doorknob and twisted, praying it was unlocked. If luck was with her, she could sneak inside and take care of business before the realtor showed up. Heck, this was the middle of Podunk, Texas. Didn't everybody leave their front doors unlocked here? The last thing she wanted was to get caught doing the potty dance in front of a total stranger her very first day in town. She chuckled as the image of her squatting behind the bushes sprang to life. The newspaper headline seemed obvious. New school teacher caught with her pants down. Literally. When the knob didn't turn beneath her hand, she nibbled her lower lip. Maybe I should text the realtor and find out what's keeping her. Or tell her I have to leave and I'll be back. Because I'm not sure how much longer I can hold it. Her gaze landed on the window by the front door. Old-fashioned, like the cottage itself, it was one of those that slid up from the bottom. Perfect. She grinned, grabbed onto the edge of the white-painted wood, and gave a sharp upward tug. It moved slightly beneath her fingertips, and she wiggled her tush in a happy dance. Maybe all wasn't lost. With another hard tug and a bit of wrestling, she got the window halfway open, mentally crossing her fingers it was wide enough to squeeze through. Just her luck. She couldn't seem to get the stupid thing to open any farther. Plus, every time she let go of the pane, it slid a little downward. Stupid window. Grabbing onto the ledge, she wriggled and shimmied, managing to get her head and upper shoulders through the narrow opening. So far, so good. Oh well, here goes nothing.
Easing from the front seat of his pickup, Sheriff Rafe Boudreau left the truck's door ajar, not wanting to spook the intruder currently trespassing and jimmying open the window of the old Johnson house. Overgrown shrubbery obscured the lower half of his would-be felon, but the view of the upper half had the corners of his mouth tugging upward. Long auburn hair hung down the center of her back, partially escaping from one of those elastic poofy things she'd used to tie it back, and his little cat burglar was definitely a female. A light blue t-shirt fit snugly, encasing a deliciously curvy figure. He couldn't help noticing her struggles with the old wood-framed window, which stubbornly refused to stay open, no matter how high up she pushed it. Not surprising, in a house as old as the Johnson place, especially since it had sat vacant for most of the last year. A softly muttered curse floated from the porch, and he bit back a chuckle. Looks like my trespasser is struggling with the entering part of the whole breaking and entering thing. Here I thought my jail cell would be sitting empty tonight. Guess I need to rethink that. At his words, the intruder jumped, banging her head against the windowsill with an audible thump. Straightening, she rubbed at the spot and glared at him with the prettiest blue eyes he'd ever seen. Surrounded by dark lashes, they reminded him of the sapphires in the ring his dad gave to Miss Patty on their last anniversary. Lush, full lips compressed into a line of pain. Despite that, his little thief was definitely easy on the eyes. I'm not breaking in. I live here. Or I will, as soon as the realtor shows up with the keys. Pretty, smart, and obviously thinks fast on her feet. Maybe she's done this kind of thing before, but she won't get away with it here. Not in my town. House isn't for sale, or old Daryl Johnson would have mentioned it, which means I get to haul you in for trespassing, plus breaking and entering. Crossing her arms, she gave him a thorough once-over, and he stood silent, letting her look her fill. He'd been headed home after working a double shift and had changed clothes at the station. He wasn't in uniform, instead wearing a faded pair of jeans, a plaid cotton shirt, and his favorite pair of cowboy boots. A dark Stetson shaded his eyes, but he still managed to see her, perfectly outlined against the porch's faded paint.